Hey guys, welcome back to the Movement Project. So today's mobility workout is going to be pertaining all to runners, and specifically to knee pain that runners tend to have. About 40% of runners have some kind of knee pain, and specifically the top three most common injuries for a runner is patellofemoral pain syndrome, IT band syndrome, and then plantar fasciitis. I'm going to mix that in with Achilles tendonitis. And so a lot of that stuff comes down to our gait and positioning while we run, as well as overuse. So a lot of people that have that knee pain will have the valgus collapse of the arch, so overpronation, and the knee caving in. So not only is it a structural thing that way, but it's also my constant overuse causing my IT band to roll anteriorly and posteriorly along my femur, and that constant rubbing down by my knee, the lateral end specifically, and the anterior end for patellofemoral syndrome is happening because of that constant overuse, that constant rubbing, it equals inflammation. So I'm not going to give you a rehab standpoint, I'm going to give you a prehab, so what you can do to make sure this does not happen. Alright, so a little bit of a new concept today. I've got two lacrosse balls, and what I'm going to do, instead of just rolling on different spots, I'm actually going to take on two different tacking positions at once. And the reason is, I've been watching some things about needling and some different myofascial technique, release techniques. And what I really like is when you think about fascia and you think about how the whole body is kind of saran wrapped in this fascia, twisting it in all different directions can help to loosen it up. So not just tacking and moving back and forth, but it's actually so connected through all joints. Working on two joints at once could be beneficial. So I'm going to go all the way down by my knee with the yellow lacrosse ball, and then I'm going to come all the way up by my hip with the other one. What I can do is kind of keep my hip in one spot so I can kind of tack down the tissues of my hip flexors, and then I'm going to roll my knee. If you can see my knee, I'm just kind of smashing side to side. And then I can do it the opposite way. I can tack my knee down and I can start to roll from my hip. And I can even kind of move in opposite directions. And so that's the idea, that the saran wrap is getting pulled in different positions so that essentially it'll loosen up. Alright, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to roll towards my knee and on my hip, move in all kinds of different positions, ideally spend 3 to 5 minutes on both sides, and then I'm going to switch to my left. If I have one leg that's a little bit more tight than the other, I'll spend more time on it. Alright? Rolling on the feet, tapping down the calves, all that stuff can be good too. But to keep the video short, I'm going to move right into a mobility drill. So what I'm going to do is put one foot on top of this massage table, and you want something that doesn't make it too intense for your hamstrings. Mine are decently lengthened, so if you need something shorter, in order for this not to be too tense, do something shorter. I'm going to bend this knee. I'm going to brace my midsection, start to lean forward until I feel a proximal stretch out of my hamstrings, my attachment towards my glute end. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to twist my legs. So I'm going to find different corners in this position, brace midsection, alright, leaning forward, and find out where the tightness lies. For me, it tends to be in my adductors, so twisting this way is good. Once I find those tight corners, I'm even going to add some twisting this way and the opposite way. Alright, and finding those different corners to figure out where you find where you can release the most tension is important. So don't just stick to one hamstring stretch leaning forward. Actually do some movements and rotations, because your hamstring stretches, or your hamstrings do a lot of different dynamics. They don't just lengthen the knee, they also rotate the hip in and out. Alright, when we get done with that, we're going to go through a little strengthening and mobility sequence. So I'm going to have you guys start down a squat. This is kind of your pre-runner's warm-up. Get in the lowest squat you can get into. Work on using the elbows to open up the hips. From there, you're going to walk forward into a push-up. I want to see how far you can bring the hands forward. You're going to hold this position for 5 seconds. Brace midsection. Squeeze your glutes. Walk back. Alright, it's all about activation while you're mobilizing at the same time. Hands come behind me. I'm going to lift my hips up and find a table position from my shoulders all the way to my knees. Alright, and then I'm going to continually go through that. Low squat, open the knees up. Walk the hands as far forward as I can. And then lastly, little glute activation and open up the anterior side of the hips. A glute table. Alright, I'm prescribing 10 of those. So you got your myofascial release, 3 to 5 minutes on each leg, working in kind of needling on both ends of the anterior hip, going into your hamstring dynamic stretch for about 3 to 5 minutes on each leg, and then finishing with that little movement sequence. All right, good luck.